Entrepreneurs, we are bringing in the month of May with the one and only Michael LeBlanc, and he is a man of many, many tools. He is joining the show today, and I am proud to call him a friend who I met through cold networking. Everyone out there, continue to grind through your networking. You never know who you're going to meet today, and we are traveling from Tampa all the way to Louisiana. And we have a great spotlight story headed your way at the end that's going to talk about 10 local businesses, 10 entrepreneurs that made their way to Mardi Gras. I'm going to see if Michael has any knowing of them, or he could shine light on some more Mardi Gras brands he sees all the time, some businesses to shed to light. But before we get to all that, welcome back to That Entrepreneur Show. My name is Vincent A. Lancey. And as I mentioned, we're bringing on Michael today. Michael, it's great to see you.
Hey, great to see you too. And thanks for having me back.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. In the show description, you'll see his links. He was on Writing with Authors. He was on a mental health break. I just didn't know if we had him on this, so we had to make some time to get him here. And now today, I'm going to preview his story, and then we'll bring him back on. He's done a lot, like I said, best-selling author, coach, speaker. He has several certifications in the mental health world, 34 years of experiences helping others align with their divine intelligence to gain clarity, move past limiting beliefs, and embody the consciousness and energy of their best and healed selves to manifest their best lives. He has been a licensed clinical social worker since 1987, certified coach, and has been studying and practicing meditation since 1989. He has several Reiki certifications, training in Hawaiian healing technique called, and I could be saying this wrong, Ho'oponopono?
Ho'oponopono.
All right, close. And training in the Ericksonian hypnosis. He does a lot, but he specializes in creating custom energy meditations for stress and manifesting, and is an experienced energy practitioner. Now you can see the overlap I have with a mental health break. It was a lights out show. Before his entrepreneurial career, spent more than 20 years in corporate America as an international safety leadership consultant and trainer for the big dogs, Chevron, ExxonMobil, you name it. He's done so much. But fast forward to today, he designs and facilitates his own workshops and online courses based off his books and energy meditation practices. And I'm so proud of him, like I said, because of how much work he puts in behind the scenes. And that will be evident as soon as he starts off this show. But please do stick around, not only to the end to find out where to find Michael, but his insight on this Mardi Gras article I found, highlighting some entrepreneurs out during one of the most fun times, I'm sure, in New Orleans and Louisiana. I've been to Mardi Gras. I have some family in Louisiana. But that's not what this show is about today. This show is all things Michael. So we're going to bring him on right away. I mentioned, Michael, you have this illustrious corporate career. Eventually, you made this jump to entrepreneurship. What was that like?
Yeah, this is actually my second time to do entrepreneur work, right? So my first was right after grad school. I got my master's in social work. I graduated in like 1987. And I knew I wanted to have my own private practice. And so I got my license as a clinical social worker, got some supervision, and really set myself up to start my own private practice. I also love gardening, and I grew up on a farm. So I had my first business was part-time therapy and part-time landscaping.
Okay.
And so I had certain days I was in the office and certain days I was landscaping. And I did that for 7 years, and I really loved it. I had a really bad experience with a client, and the worst of it is it surfaced all the, you're not good enough, you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing this, the worst was I believed all that stuff, and so it just started crumbling around me, and I ended up closing out my business, and I went into corporate America again, and I did well in that time. I mean, it was fine, but it was supposed to be just a break. It wasn't supposed to be permanent. And next thing you know, it's like the stuff you were talking about with corporate America. Yeah, I did a lot of international consulting and training and teaching workshops worldwide, and that was fantastic. I mean, I got to be in like 25 plus countries.
Amazing.
All on their dime, which was perfect.
Oh, of course. Seeing the world on someone else's expense. How could you not? But you were in that role for so long, I'm sure, because of your leadership ability.
Yeah. And I really, I got good at it, but I didn't love it. It's like I I was teaching leadership for a lot of corporations, and but I really had missed just the personal growth world, the spirituality world, alternative healing, all that kind of stuff that I initially started in. So it's been about 5 years now that I kind of left corporate full time, started up my own again, and so here we are with round two.
Well, be sure to head to YouTube, everyone listening on my YouTube channel. That way you can see all the great work Michael has right here in the video. He's got some of his books. He's repping his shirt. And of course, that picture behind you, I'm sure you took that picture yourself.
I did the photography.
Yep.
I have an online store that features my photography that's in 2 of my Divine Dirt books. And then it's on my latest creation are wine tumblers.
I see that. Look, those are really nice.
And but there's throw pillows like the ones behind me. There's wall art. There's coffee mugs. This one you might enjoy. It's grow through what you go through.
A true entrepreneur here, extending his brand in many areas. And that's what it's all about. As an entrepreneur, we have to find ways to grow. I'm trying to get more back into merch. I did a mental health line maybe 2 years ago. I'm trying to carve out some time coming up to get back into that, because it is a great representation of all the work you put in and this lifestyle you've created as well. Not just the company, this Divine Dirt, from the books, the pillows, the flowers. He's growing quite a big following. We might as well plug you right now, Michael. We'll go back to it at the end. Where's the website to find all this great stuff and the social media?
Yeah, so manifestwithmichael.com is my main page, my main site. All my merchandise that I create using my photography is at divinedirt.net.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Those are kind of like the 2 main places: manifestwithmichael.com, divinedirt.net.
Manifestwithmichael.com and divinedirt.net. Got it right here in the show notes for you. While we're talking about these 2 companies, you mentioned about 5 years since you finally left corporate, you started doing something you love. Let's talk more about these companies for everyone who has not been familiar with you yet.
Yeah, so Manifest with Michael, it's ultimately it's become 4 lines, what I call 4 lines of influence. And so it's influencing others through my writing. So my books are 1 line. And then my coaching and my memberships. I have a Meditate and Live from Your Divine Center membership. So that's like one of my lines of influence. And then I've been facilitating and teaching workshops, and a lot of that was for corporate America, but right. I design my own workshops now for my books. And so I like, that's another line of my influence is my workshops and my teaching. And I'll still do speak, like I'm getting ready to speak at the National Association of Social Workers. Right. They have an annual conference in Baton Rouge, and they've invited me back to be a speaker this year. And I'm going to teach one of my meditation workshops to deal with stress, anxiety, negative thinking, that kind of stuff. And then my 4th line of influence is my store. It's my online store. And as an entrepreneur, it's like 2 of those are passive incomes and 2 of those are active, right? So the books and the store are kind of the, while you sleep, things can be happening. And then my coaching, my workshops, my speaking are, more active, right? Like I have to be there for those to work.
I love that. So we have the coaching and speaking, we have the books. Repeat. I'm putting these in the show notes.
No, that's fine. So the books, my coaching and my membership, my workshops and teaching, speaking, all that's kind of together. And then the 4th is my store, my online store.
I love it. I'm so inspired here, Michael. As an entrepreneur, you have to keep finding ways to succeed, keep finding ways to grow, as I touched on before, and you seem to have done a great way of that. And I mean, even going back from landscaping to the social work and now to the Divine Dirt, you're a testament to not giving up and finding what's best for you. And I think it's inspiration for everyone listening on today, where it doesn't matter when you make that switch to something you're passionate about, just do it. Because I see Michael through the screen. He's always so happy. He's always so friendly, and he's always loving to share his message.
Except when I'm not.
I haven't seen that, Michael, in our couple hours we've spent together. I do hope to meet him one day in person. Yeah. Hopefully the next time I head to Louisiana.
But what I will say for folks, it's like, a lot of I spend time in silence. I spend time really connecting to what I call that divine intelligence, that intuition. And then I really do my best to listen to it, because there is action involved, but it's like it's inspired action as much as possible. Because that's where like I never dreamed of writing a book. I never had a dream of being an author, and now I've got 3 of them of my own, and I'm featured in 2 others. And one of those is with this guy, Joe Vitale, who's he's written like 30 books. It's like, but so I really encourage people to, it's like, sure, take classes, do all that, it's like I do a lot of that for myself, but at the end of the day, it's going within, and it's really listening to that voice and that divine inspiration, and then following that. And so that's where, like, writing my first book, the inspiration came from that. The online store, I never knew I could. Well, one, I don't consider myself a professional photographer. I just like taking pictures from my garden. But I have a good eye,
But they are professional pictures. He's very humble. I promise you, everyone, you tune in today to the YouTube,
they are.
You'll see it. I mean, the picture behind me, that's something you'd spend quite a bit of money on. But it's very great to see all your success unravel, Michael.
But I encourage people to do that. It's like, really tune in within when you're trying to, like, well, what's next? And, because all these ideas have come from there, right? And so even the idea to take a break and go to corporate America for a while.
You know what? Everybody's story is different. It's a path. This life is crazy.
I was like, I needed a break. I was like, I'd done a little bit of training. It's like, what if I just did that full time? Because then you could care about people during the day, during training, and then you're done with them. It's like, and I needed that.
Absolutely.
And so, but that all kind of came from within, and sure enough, I ended up meeting somebody, a friend of my brother's. We're chatting. They work for this training company. Next thing you know, I'm hired. And I start on a Monday, and I'm flying to the UK on a Friday. And it was just kind of
throw you right into it, right into the whirlwind. But that's great, Michael. I mean, sometimes we take breaks, and breaks are good. I mean, as long as you get to where you want to go one way or the other, you did a job well done, and now you're thriving with Divine Dirt. But before we hop into this week's Spotlight story, and before we find out which entrepreneur Michael would sit down with throughout history, it's time to help our audience here, Michael. It's not all roses and happiness and good stuff in entrepreneurship. There are a ton of ups and downs. I call it a roller coaster. There's no textbook in entrepreneurship. It's a lot of trial and error. But what are some of the harder parts for you to help our audience who's battling those same hurdles?
For me, it's the self-doubt, I think, has been just the hardest. It's not stuff out there that's been the hardest for me personally. It's been me that's been the hardest for me. And it's just that, it's like I can have days, it's like everything's good and I can feel like I'm succeeding, and it's like I've got my 4 lines of influence like I'm talking about. But then the next morning I can wake up, I just feel like I'm a big failure, like I'm not succeeding. It's not working. It's like, and maybe it won't ever work. And, and so it's just, to me, one of the biggest challenges. It's like, I didn't really face that in corporate America because the structure's there, the work's there, the business is there. You just sort of show up and do a good job. Right. It's like that I'm good at that. This, it's like, it's a whole different story. And for people like me, it's like I'm a creative. I can create all day long, and I could teach workshops all day long. It's like, but now how do you turn that into a business?
Right.
Is a bigger challenge. So those are kind of my 2. It's just the self-doubt stuff that can come in, the I'm not enoughness or it won't work kind of stuff. And then the just and how do you make it a business, right?
I can certainly relate to that. I mean, in the beginning was the self-doubt, because it's funny, once you start getting the ball rolling, all of a sudden people start believing in your message, following your message, you're getting your awareness out more and more. And then for me, at least, the small wins, the small gains help propel me in the direction to keep going. Of course, there'll be tons. I mean, for me personally, I was in a business trying into schools during COVID, especially. I had the mental health books, but schools had no budgets. Schools had 1,000 things going on. So I was battling tons of adversity, but I just was resilient. I never gave up, getting that one school to give me the yes. And then we move forward. One school now. Right. I feel that I've exhausted these methods, and I'm now going to be focusing more on hospital patients again, which is a transition. I've always wanted to do both, but right now It's all about pivoting in entrepreneurship. Nothing ever stays the same. We have to keep finding a way to evolve and stay true to ourselves. But Michael, I want to thank you for such a lights out show so far. I can't wait to learn which entrepreneur you're going to choose because we've had the privilege of sitting down with you a few times now. But I'm going to first shed light on this article. And everyone out there, be sure to follow along in the show description. It's called 10 Local Businesses That Made Our Way to Mardi Gras. And then again, we're going to get Michael's take on it and see if anything resonates or if he could shed some light on some other businesses out there, because it's all about showing love to any businesses we can. The first one oh, go ahead. Yeah, please.
No, keep finish what you were going to say.
All right, I'm going to jump into the first one on this article. It's called Alligator Eyes. The author of the article puts, I first learned of alligator eyes on the St. Charles Avenue parade route during the first weekend of Carnival, when everyone but me was wearing cutely decorated sunglasses. Lucky for me, I had time before my ride in Iris the following Saturday by sneak and snag a few pairs for throws, the perfect for the non-Mardi Gras crafter like me. I also scored a drumstick on a chain and made my father a very happy man. Again, this article is in the description to check out exactly what I'm talking about. The second one is a company called Tartine. My favorite king cake in the city is from Tartine. Located conveniently around the corner from my house, it's one of my favorite places for breakfast or lunch, and is also always a request from my house guests. Everything on the menu is fantastic, but fan favorites are the quiche, scones, and bean salad. So if you're out in New Orleans, be sure to stop there. I'm going to go ahead and touch on two more and then bring him back.
Yeah, sure.
Sparkle City. Somehow I always seem to be the girl lacking the purple, green, and gold clothing. So at the last minute, I picked up the perfect festive Mardi Gras jacket from Sparkle City. My closet is now quickly filling with lavender, neon, and yellow to represent our TSG brand colors in this spring. And my sister's cute Alma, that's her nickname, jacket is from New Orleans native, now living in Dallas. Jessica Dale's Label It All. Oh, man, these are great companies. One more, Michael, before I bring you back on.
That's fine.
Let's look at, I guess we'll have to look at Popeyes because that's a New Orleans-born Mardi Gras staple, which eluded me on the parade route. So it was simply a miracle when it was delivered to my doorstep by DoorDash on Mardi Gras evening for my last supper. And the article says, thank you to all the local businesses who made my Mardi Gras fantastic. My goal is to shed light on some of these businesses for everyone out there. And Popeyes has made its way down here to Tampa. There are quite a few. But Michael, have you heard of any of these companies?
So, there were a couple I hadn't, like the tartine she was talking about. So now it's got me like curious because New Orleans is about 2.5 hours for me. So
okay.
If my husband and I want to do like a show or something, it's an easy, just get away. And what I love about New Orleans is it's a city you feel like you went somewhere. You feel like you're somewhere else. You're on vacation. So it's perfect for that. And this was us last weekend.
Oh, nice. That's right. You just got back.
We went Saturday night to see Andrea Bocelli, actually.
Oh, I saw your Facebook about that. It was great.
Yeah, and then we stayed the Sunday, and we have some friends that have a place on St. Charles on the parade route. So we went hang out with them for the day. And no, one of the things I did like about the article is just, kind of highlighting others, right, that kind of contributed to their fun day. Because I do find that for me as an entrepreneur, even as an author, when I have someone else's book that, another author that I can share or promote, and it's just kind of taking the time to do that. So I will be checking out some of those. Of course, Popeyes I know of.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, local entrepreneurs supporting local entrepreneurs. I think that's a great thing. Tell me your favorite Gasparilla memory this year. Something you saw, something you did, something to inspire our audience to make their way to Mardi Gras some point in their life.
We spent the Sunday it was like 6 hours of just parades back to back. But some of the floats and stuff are fun. You're catching beads and all that good stuff. But really the fun ones for me were like one was this group of they're probably men in their 30s and 40s, maybe 50s. And they're all kind of a little bit dressed up like construction worker types. But they've got like these dance routines they're all doing.
That's cool.
And they're just marching along doing it. There's another group, they were all dressed like Dolly Parton. Another group was all dressed like Elvis.
It brings out the kids in us.
It was just those to me were the fun, because those are just regular people getting together. and then they're practicing these dance routines because they've got to march for 5 miles, and so anyway, that was fun for me. I enjoyed
That is fun. I think it's just all about the experience. My experiences in New Orleans are just culture like no other, happiness, smiles all around. I've had family, like I mentioned before, in Louisiana, so I've been down there a few times, but I went to Mardi Gras for the first time with my old college roommate, and we drove here from Tampa. It wasn't that close, but we did the drive. As college kids, you're scrapping money together, you're finding a way to have some fun.
Yeah.
And the beads throwing. I mean, you name it, the city comes together. Yeah, I think we may have talked last time about Gasparilla here in Tampa. That's our mini Mardi Gras. It's, I believe, the third biggest parade in the country. It's nothing as big as Mardi Gras, but everyone out there, I do challenge you to get out to Mardi Gras and just experience the culture out there. Even as he said, he lives in Louisiana, but it is a vacation within a vacation for him just to drive out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a fun little getaway. So,
well, for sure. But Michael, before I let you go, I have to ask, which entrepreneur throughout history are you sitting down with, dead or alive?
So he's very much alive. His name's Vishen. I never pronounce his last name correctly. Luckiana, something like that.
Okay.
He started up Mind Valley. I don't know if
Okay.
you're familiar with Mind Valley. And it's just, his story is pretty great, from how he started to kind of growing this just pretty massive organization, and all the different people he brings on, as are pretty phenomenal. And so really, and he's in that spirituality, metaphysics, kind of world as well, which is a lot of what my teachings and writings are about. So he was kind of my top pick. I have three. I'll share all three. And so I've also attended Brendan Burchard's. He does like 3-day, 4-day intensive kind of workshops, and for entrepreneurs and stuff like that. And it's if you've never been, it's an amazing experience, and it's really Brendan. I mean, he features 1 or 2 other people, but it's not like a lot of times you go to these things and it's like 20 different people and you get a little bit from everybody. And this is really Brendan, and you get it from Brendan, which to me makes it even better. And so he's another one that would be just, to sit down with him would be great. And then my last, and she's kind of newer to me, but she's impressive, and her name's Rachel Hillier.
Not familiar.
Hillyer. She made her first million as an entrepreneur when she was in her 20s, and but she's also in that whole metaphysical, kind of manifesting world. And so it's always intriguing for me when people like that level of success and stuff. So she's another one that's on my list. So those were my three.
I love it. I love it, Michael. Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down with our community of entrepreneurs. Again, everyone, if you enjoyed what he has to say today, be sure to go to the show description. He had a great episode on writing with authors. We're obviously going to have to bring him back there because he's got all these books coming out, and he had a great episode on a mental health break. Be sure to, yes.
This is my latest one. It's just being released. It's Divine Dare Digging Deeper.
When is that coming out?
Well, it's actually on Amazon now.
Okay.
I have my first shipment to me is on the way. But it's each chapter is its own personal, inspirational how-to. But the digging deeper part is each chapter comes with a contemplation exercise. So it takes the reader by the hand and guides you deeper into the work. And then it also kind of like my other Divine Dirt books, they'll feature my garden photography, kind of throughout the book and stuff. So that's my latest coming out.
I love it. Well, after the show, we'll quickly get you scheduled for another Writing with Authors. We're on a break right now. We'll get you back on there. I'd love to shed more light on that. But where can we find you online again? You mentioned the websites before, but let's shed light one more time.
No, so manifestwithmichael.com. And then all my products with my photography are at divinedirt.net.
Great. I got those right here. And everyone, we are at That Entrepreneur Show at Vincent A. Lancy on Instagram, though. I've condensed there to one page just because of the work it takes for social media, and I don't want to let our guests down. Be sure to hashtag That Entrepreneur Show and check those hashtags out to see all great guests. The show is streaming on all platforms. And Michael, Thank you for starting us out with the month of May. I look forward to our next chat.
Thank you, Butch. Appreciate it.